Now, in our first story, Minority Chief Whip Mohammed Mubarak Muntaka is demanding an apology from President Akufo-Addo over the flouting of COVID-19 protocols during the funeral of the former CEO of the Forestry Commission, Kojo Osuefriye. Minority Chief Whip Muntaka Mubarak says the incident puts in danger Ghana's efforts to deal with the pandemic. He says government is showing little seriousness in dealing with this.
So if we are not observing the protocols, maybe because we think we've taken the first and second jab. Remember, even with the first and second jab, it is still said that you only have, I think, up to 90 or 95%. There's still a 5% range that you could get. So I believe that what happened in the Sedon thing was very unfortunate. And if I were the president, I would apologize to the country for that. Even though maybe that as the president, I wasn't in charge of the funeral, but getting there and seeing what was happening there, maybe the president should have moved away to insist. I've gone to programs, they'll tell you in my constituency where I'm in charge of the program. I had to carry nose masks, insisted for almost 1.5 hours, they should bring enough nose masks to give everybody there before I come to address them. And we had to wait for almost 1.5 hours for me to get nose masks bought around, distributed to people there before I went there. And I thought that the president could have insisted on something like that, or insist that the right things be done. Because I was told that when they started the funeral, they were these sanitizers and what have you. Then all of a sudden, when the numbers got large, everything went haywire. I don't think that was right. And the president owed us an apology that as the commander-in-chief, he was there and this thing happened. I mean, nothing could be said rather than to apologize to the rest of the country.
Will an apology be enough, especially when, even as you mentioned, other people have been brought to book and a prosecution is ongoing because churches breached it and all? Would a simple apology because he's the president?
Well, because you and I know, once he remains the president, you cannot prosecute him. And he's the head of state. He was there. I mean, right? And I want to believe that he played a very key role in the funeral. And sitting president, our own constitution exempts them from prosecution unless they finish serving their term. So that is why I'm saying that he must apologize to us. But I think that we need to take this thing very seriously. Like I'm telling you, if a member of parliament who has already taken the first jab is currently quarantined in a facility because of COVID over the weekend, it clearly tells you that we are not out of the woods. We need to continue observing the protocol.
Meanwhile, a fresh case of COVID-19 has been recorded in Parliament. Joy News gathers a member of Parliament has tested positive and was hospitalized. Muntaka Mubarak tells Joy News MPs are waiting for the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, to discuss what will be done to keep MPs safe.
We are concerned, very, very concerned. Over the weekend, I was in my constituency. Almost every gathering that I went, I had to complain. Few of us were looking odd with the nose masks and insisting on social distancing. People want to sit in a closed place, you insist that no, let's sit in the open. And I'm sorry to tell you, as we speak, I don't know whether Speaker may be announcing it tomorrow, one of us has gotten COVID again, here. And as we speak, he is at the what they call treatment center. And unfortunately, it's infected all his family, even though they don't have symptoms. We are only praying that he gets well soon. He's stable, and we are hoping that he's going to get over. He has gotten the first jab. At least he claims he got the first jab, he didn't take the second. We want to encourage all of us to have at the back of our mind that COVID is not gone. Let's continue to take the protocol seriously. Let's continue to observe all the protocol. It's just too unfortunate that as leaders of this country, that needs to set exemplary life. We went for this John, and the president was there, the vice president was there, and everything went haywire. It's sad that when the church went to the trade fair, they were being prosecuted. Now you have the head of state who signed the executive instrument with the vice president and all the others. Unfortunately, they were not observing the protocol. It's very unfortunate. I believe that things like this make people believe that, oh, we are just making mockery of them. COVID is not real. Because look, you go to the interland, the rural areas, the poor community, they just think that COVID is not real.
Now let's cross over to Parliament now for the latest updates on the vetting of the Deputy Ministerial nominees and Deputy Minister Designates for Youth and Sport. Evans Opoku-Bopie says government is committed to developing juvenile sports in the country. He's been responding to questions at his vetting before Parliament's Appointments Committee.
And 2 million. If you are doing it and you want the fraud light, that is close to 2 million. Without fraud light, 1.5 to 2 million. Yeah. AstroTurf, one AstroTurf. If you are doing it with the fraud light, you see this? You see this? Yes.
So if I want to construct my social center at Bekwai, I want to construct an AstroTurf park, I need about 1 million Ghana cedis. Will the ministry support me with some assistance to finish the?
Why not? Why not? If you apply, my minister may look at it and see if it is feasible. Yes. Yes, because there are youths in your constituency too whom I want to develop their talent and their skills. Thank you.
Very well. Now, sports betting. There's the Games and Betting Commission? Yes. Gaming Commission. I don't know how they regulate the kinds of games and betting that goes on around the country. But I'd like to find out. What I notice is that they are mostly owned by people, non-Ghanaians, let me put it that way. Is there no regulation as to who enters those kinds of businesses in our country? If there is, how are we ensuring that all the sports betting business is not taken by South Africans, as it appears to be the case, and the small ones by the roadside are not taken by the Chinese, as they're doing?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Well, I also think that that sector should be regulated properly, so that you can check who is doing what, and then the necessary revenues that we seek to get can be received. So much attention has also not been paid to that sector. And I think that I will have to have lengthy discussions with my minister when I'm approved, study the LI properly.
We'll get more updates from the ongoing vetting later in the day. Meanwhile, the Ghana Grid Company Limited has blamed last night's power outage in parts of Accra and Tema to a shortage of gas supply to some of its gas-powered plants in Takoradi. The statements released a while ago, Gridco gave further details on the cause of the outage. Let's take a look at some of these details. And the gas supply shortage in Takoradi Enclave, June 8, 2021, that's Tuesday, June 8. A reported leakage by Ghana Gas on its processing plant at Takoradi has curtailed gas supply to a number of thermal generating plants in the country. It says a number of gas-fired generating plants were therefore shut down on Monday, June 7, 2021. Consequently, this led to power outages in some parts of Greater Accra and Tema. Repair works are currently ongoing by Ghana Gas to fix the situation. Gridco wishes to assure its customers that it continues to engage all the players in the power sector value chain to ensure consistent power supply in the country. It's signed by the Corporate Affairs Directorate of the Ghana Grid Company. Let's move to other stories. And pregnant women and other patients who want to access the University of Cape Coast Hospital have been left frustrated. The Federation of University Senior Staff Association at the University of Cape Coast have withdrawn essential and critical services, which include the hospital and schools. Over 6,000 members of the association in 10 public universities laid down their tools on May 19 in protest over poor working conditions and failure of government to pay accrued pensions. Despite government's assurance in resolving its grievance, the association insists it will continue to strike. Richard Kojonyako went around the University of Cape Coast campus and reports, apart from the hospital, most of the classrooms at the University Basic School are without teachers, and students have taken over the teaching of their peers.
Campuses of the University of Cape Coast, the strike by the Federation of the University Senior Staff Association was having a huge impact as members of the federation who work at the university hospital have withdrawn their services. Pregnant women who had come to be seen by hospital officials were left unattended to.
As a pregnant woman, you know that sometimes there will be complications. Even if there is none, you have to come so that you see that your baby is healthy or not. But here we are. I came here around 5. Nothing is showing. I'm still sitting here.
And they are telling us that the antenatal books are finished because they have to go and take it from stores. And the stores people are also on strike. So because of that, no one can take care of her. Even the junior staff people cannot take care of her because there is no book for them to take the records inside. So we are just sitting here hoping that someone can come here to help us. It's very difficult. Some of us have to go to work too. And we've left work coming to take care of ourselves here and only to be told because they are on strike, nothing can be done to us.
The situation was no different at the University Basic School. The teachers who belonged to the Federation were not in class when the task force went round whipping their members into line. The school pupils expressed their worry and called for something urgent to be done.
The teachers are gone and as we are in the class, we are not doing anything. All we are doing is fooling and one day will not get any job to do.
The strike has affected our teachers and some of them are not even coming to school. So I will appeal to the government that they should try and stop the strike and pay them with their money so that we can get learning effective.
Director of the University Health Services, Dr. Evans Ekenam, says his outfit was doing all it can to contain the situation, but pleaded with the authorities to see to the end of the challenge.
The manpower that we need, those experienced hands, we don't have them on the ground, and it's really a problem. We've had to refer many of our cases to the teaching hospital, and that is not the best. That is not the best. So we are really feeling the impact on the ground, and but we still continue to do our work because we are health professionals. We are like military people. No matter what it is, we have to keep protecting our people, and that's the job we are still doing on the ground.
Chairman of the University of Cape Coast Federation of the University Senior Staff Association of Ghana, Sandy Kumisinatra, says they won't relent until their demands are met.
I'm highly impressed looking at the compliance level of our members. Almost all of them are at home, and we encourage them to continue to do that for us, as we also do our best as leaders to make sure that our demands are being pressed home. Unfortunately, no, that is not what we wish for the people. We wish that the academic calendar will not be disrupted, that people can go about their normal duties without any disruption. But unfortunately, where we are, we have no better option than to rope them in to strike, to press on our demands. The work of the task force has not been ended. It is now that we have even re-engineered them to go down to the grounds and do the work and do it effectively to make sure that none of our members comes to work so that the effects that we all anticipate will be achieved.
As the Federation has withdrawn the critical and essential services, the strike is becoming extremely biting. Patients and parents are calling on government to act to avert any unfortunate occurrences. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kojonyako, Cape Coast.
Now, updates we have from Kumasi is that on the K University campus, the situation is quite worse because students of the university primary and senior high and junior high school have had to stay home as a result of the FUSAC strike, and the situation at the hospital is also not encouraging. Let's come back to Accra quickly and deal with the Supreme Court because a panel presided over by Justice Poe has set aside a High Court order that indefinitely barred the Fix the Country campaigners from staging a street protest. The court held that this order was in error and proceeded to quash it. This is the response to a case filed by the campaigners asking the Apex courts to set aside a High Court order that halted a planned May 9 street protest. Court correspondent Joseph Akable joins us live with the latest. Joseph, you've sat through the legal arguments. Explain to us why the campaigners, despite being told the High Court order was in error, still wanted the Supreme Court to set it aside.
And so their argument is that as far as that order is concerned, the order in its clear terms prohibits them from embarking on any protest until such a time that the appropriate authority, and in their opinion, in this case, is the president, who by executive instrument impose the restrictions on public gatherings. And so they have said that with that particular order that was given by the court, and they being compliant, it will mean that they cannot engage in that protest until its full terms are met. And so that is how come they have urged the court that the court should set that particular order aside.
And the AG disagreed with this. Tell us about that and the ruling of the court.
So the AG's argument was to the effect that the court's order was granted on May 6th, and as far as he's concerned, per the operation of law, when you ask for an order of the court and the person that you are seeking to injunct is not present to argue it, what the lawyers will call the ex parte application, it will mean that such injunction is supposed to last for just 10 days. And so he insists that despite the expression of how the order was out, he said by law it's supposed to last just 10 days. And since 10 days has already elapsed, it means that there is currently no order in force. And that is how come the police have taken steps already, taking another order this time to stop the protest. And so his argument was that even if the court is minded to quash, there is no order for the court to quash, since that order has already elapsed. And so he asked the court to dismiss the president by the country. But of course, he disagreed and feel that per the rules, it is supposed to last for 10 days, and the order that was granted was indefinite. So it said that order was in error and proceeded to set that aside.
Right. Joseph, from what you're saying, it looks like there's no court order that currently exists, but there's a pending case. What happens next?
That is so, and as far as the protesters are concerned, they are pursuing that angle. In fact, that particular case has been adjourned to June 14, 2021. At the last hearing, the court had asked the various parties in case the protesters and the Ghana Police Service to file their various documents arguing why the protesters should be allowed to protest and why they should not be allowed to protest. The police service has always maintained, in line with the COVID-19 restrictions, which has been the basis for that claim. And so that case is back in court on June 14. But what is important is that as it stands now, there's no order. There's now a pending request for an order.
Joseph Akable, thank you very much for those updates. Let's go back to our earlier story where FUSAG in KNUST is currently on strike, causing the closure of KNUST Junior High School. Now, Prince Apia is on standby and he joins us via Zoom. Prince, tell us about what you observed. Prince, please unmute your microphone. What more can you report from Kumasi?
Yeah, Daniel, I can report that currently the university primary school, for instance, is not operational because students have been asked to stay home as a result of the strike. It's only the security persons who are manning the school as I speak to you now. We know that the Senior Staff Association comprises of middle level management, which constitutes a lab technician, some nurses, some accountants and administrators. And before you can get to the VC, for instance, you have to go through the administrators, and currently they are all not working. As a result, it is hampering the administrative work on campus. I should also say that for accountants, for instance, they will have to sign a lot of checks and all that, and all those things have been halted because the professionals are currently not at post. But what has been an interim adjustment is the work of the national service persons who are helping. But even with that, they are unable to do most of the works that the professionals would have done on campus, and so they are restricted. And so it is really impacting a lot of the administrative works on campus, Daniel.
Right. Prince, thanks very much for bringing us those updates from KNUST. Let's move on to other stories. And 4 years after the Bank of Ghana and Securities Exchange Commission closed down more than 400 financial institutions, no one has been convicted for causing the collapse. Also, 1.7 billion Ghana cedis out of a total of 27 billion Ghana cedis in assets have been recovered from these shareholders. Former workers of the now defunct institutions who still struggle to make ends meet feel they are being punished for their previous employers' wrongdoing. On Total Recall, we take a look at the cleanup and its impact. The morning of the 14th of August 2017 was a restful day for Ikuya, a 36-year-old single mother who had been working in the banking industry for 10 years.
I was on leave actually, so I was home listening to the morning news and breakfast shows as usual. And then I overheard it. I heard it over the radio that Capital Bank and UT Bank had been taken over by GCB.
And some selected assets of UT Bank and Capital Bank. The premises of UT Bank and Capital Bank will be rebranded as branches of GCB Bank. And all customers can continue to do normal business at these branches. Their continuous operation could have jeopardized not only their depositors' funds, but also posed a threat to the financial system.
The announcement triggered a series of events which changed her reality and that of her 6-year-old daughter permanently.
We went to the office in the morning and we were handed over our letters. So I went to the Uber office. It was some way, because I met all men in queue. You know, because I'm a woman, I'm unable to do the peak hours. What I get from doing Uber is daily upkeep. Food, utilities for just myself and my daughter. Yes, so for that one, Uber is able to do for me. But when it comes to major maintenance on even the car, where I have to purchase like a car battery for like 400 Ghana cedis, and it's a challenge, and even my rent.
Ikuya is one of the over 5,000 workers in 7 banks who lost their jobs as a result of the financial sector cleanup. Eventually, over 400 financial institutions closed their doors over the next 3 years, leaving many lives and livelihoods in peril. Another face behind these numbers is Jemima Mensah, who recently started a catering business.
And it's still not easy because this money in this shop is not for spending. It's for turning around. We turn things around here. So you don't get any money from it to solve your problems. So things are still hard. But since we have this, and it means there is still hope to do something. So now the washing have stopped. I've graduated from washing to catering.
Though Ikuya and Jemima do not agree with the actions taken by the Bank of Ghana, consultant Nana Otio-Champon explains Dr. Addison and his team took the best possible course of action.
The justification, partly, some were weak in terms of capital, in terms of corporate governance, and in many other areas like risk management. So allowing them to stay on was one option, but not the preferred option, because sometimes a system will be so broken that your only alternative is to get rid of it and start afresh.
He is, however, disappointed that little progress has been made in recovering the lost funds from the shareholders of these institutions.
Some 27 billion of assets have been identified by the receiver. We've been told that so far 1.7 billion has been recovered. Why? Partly because the auditors again are turning around to tell us that the assets were overvalued in the books of the banks. Who audited those accounts? It was these same auditors that audited. Now you've been asked to recoup and you are saying that the assets have been overvalued, so you are writing them down.
19 persons are currently standing trial for the alleged mismanagement which caused the collapse of the institutions, including former Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Kwabena Dufo, former Deputy Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama, and Dr. Kofi Amoabeng, among others. It is not clear how much progress has been made in these cases, but there is no doubt that the impact of their alleged actions still leaves a bitter taste in the mouths of thousands like Jemima and Ikea.
I don't feel a sense of belonging here. I feel like some people are more Ghanaian than others. Some people can just do whatever they like and get away with it. And it's like, like they can just mismanage everything and they are spared. And the person that the mismanagement affects most is rather punished. You understand? It feels hopeless, like there's no hope for this country. I don't know, but unfortunately that's the feeling that I have.
I have a blind father at home who is sick. So how do I take care of that man and my kids? When you educate your kids in America and everything, our kids that are not working and are at home, they will bring the guns and come and kill your kids and take their monies because they become rebels. Omo anko school, omo ni bibia, come di omo nti omo nyeden. When it comes to these things, I get so emotional that I don't know. I don't know, but
For Total Recall, Daniel Daze, Joy News, Accra. You're live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Daze. Let's take a breather. When we come back, we bring you business.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Darrell Kwao. EcoBank Ghana, as part of measures to save costs on energy, has begun implementation of renewable energy measures into its operations. It has installed a full solar system in 32 of its operating branches in the country. Managing Director of the bank, Dan Saki, assured shareholders that this is a cost-saving measure to enhance the bank's sustainability and clean energy program.
Environmentally conscious, the bank had, over the past 5 years, pursued a deliberate strategy of improving the contribution of solar to our energy consumption mix. We do have 65 branches currently, and I can confirm that as we speak, 32 of these branches are running on solar. We have a joint plan to install solar on our branches, in our branches, to make sure that during the day we can be powered fully by solar, and if there is a shortfall, it can be met from the normal grid. So we have a hybrid situation where we are running on both solar and electricity energy in the branches. What is interesting is that we've achieved this without actually putting out any financial outlay, in the sense that we have engaged stakeholders who then walk into our selected branches, install solar, and we have done the calculation such that we are basically spending the exact amount we were spending on electricity energy. Savings from the solar energy results in lower charges, and the savings are used to pay for the solar energy installations. So we expect that over 5 years, each of these solar energy installations will be fully amortized, and the actual savings would now be coming in after year 6. So
in other news, some 132 youth in the Talensi district of the Upper East region have become new entrepreneurs after acquiring various skills from vocational training program organized for them by ActionAid Ghana. The training was aimed at helping the youth create their own jobs and be self-reliant. Here's a report by correspondent Albert Sori.
The entrepreneurial training program covered various skills such as soap making, basketry, pastry making, leatherworks, tiling, mobile phone repairs, and satellite installation. It was organized by non-governmental organization ActionAid Ghana with funding support from the Medical Foundation under a project known as Providing Employment Opportunities for Young People in Ghana. The project is being implemented in 3 regions and 4 districts and aims to train 500 youth in technical and vocational skills to help reduce youth unemployment in the country. The selection of beneficiaries was done with the community leaders playing a key role to ensure that persons with physical challenges and women who are the vulnerable in society were given priority. Terence Tiena is the project manager at Action Aid Ghana.
With these employable skills, they can either start their business or they can gain decent jobs, employment in the private sector where they can start earning some income to be able to support themselves, support their families, and also which would at the end support the community at large. If they are able to start their businesses and are able to recruit other youths to work with or even train other youth, gradually the level of youth unemployment and also poverty around the community will begin to reduce. Gradually, the community will be economically empowered enough to be able to support its youth, which will reduce youths migrating to urban centers and also to down south to look for decent jobs, which sometimes they don't find.
The Upper East Regional Director of the National Youth Authority, Francis Techi Koranting, was optimistic that the support given to the new trainees will go a long way to help produce a vibrantly employed youth for the country.
Many a time, when it comes to employment, many people think it has to do with white-collar jobs, so that everybody wants to sit in an office. But then look at a typical day, when those of us who want to be in an office prepare to go to the office, we have to go and bath. Somebody makes sure that the water is there. We have to dress up. The dresses we wear, the footwear, everything. Somebody makes sure that they are there. Even the pomade.
And that's business for now. There's more coming up on the marketplace. Our interview with the U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, Stephanie Sullivan. Don't miss it. The news continues with sports up next.
Good afternoon, welcome to Sports on Joy News. Today, I am Muftau Nabila Ablai. Black Stars head coach CK Akono says he had difficulty with his team ahead of their trip to Morocco to face the Atlas Lions in a friendly to be played later today. Speaking to the Ghana FA media team, CK said the issues, however, have been resolved. Still on the Black Stars and their friendly against Morocco, Akono says that the match is beyond a friendly one, though he will not have some of his key players for the game. From Morocco, let's come back to Ghana. And yesterday, the president of the country, Nana Akufo-Addo, urged the Minister of Youth and Sports, Mustapha Usif, to explore the possibility of Kalon Hussein-Odeh switching nationality to play for the Black Stars. The Chelsea star has been in Ghana since last week to enjoy part of his summer holidays and did not rule out the possibility of switching his allegiance from the Three Lions of playing for the country. And the president wants his minister to play a role in imploring him to consider playing for the country. Conversations about the possibility of Kalon Hussein-Odeh representing Ghana in international games. The player says he chose to play for the English because they gave him an opportunity of representing them.
When they obviously gave me the cool opportunity to come, there was something that obviously is international. You're in the country already, something that I already had my mindset on playing and already playing for England. So it was a thing where obviously choosing Ghana or England, at the end of the day, I said that I always have the right people behind me who would always advise me on what's right and what's wrong. So England came and I said, yeah, let me go and play for my country in national. But I said, Ghana's my home as well. So we will see, we never know, so we'll see.
Despite playing for the Three Lions, Hudson is still eligible of playing for the Black Stars. Following a meeting with the president of the country, Nana Akufo-Addo, on Monday, the president said he has urged the Minister for Youth and Sports, Mustapha Usif, to explore the possibility of having Kalon switch nationality and play for the Black Stars. On that note, we say that's all for Sports on Joy News today. I am Muftau Nabila Ablai. Head on to myjoyonline.com and read more stories. As reported earlier on the AM, we had said that Herbert Manser was going to be removed from office. That story, details of it is on myjoyonline.com. The news continues with Daniel Dassi.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Showbiz here on Joy News today. Now, High Life musician Pat Thomas says it's not too late to help get the High Life genre on the global stage. With the recent conversation about Ghana's music identity globally, the veteran musician says all it takes is a collective work to get the genre well represented globally.
Yeah, it should be. It should be. But we have to work hard towards that. You know, this afternoon I was hearing some news on the radio about High Life and how it's not going to abroad or something like that. But we still have to work it out. We work hard to make it happen.
On the global front, Pat Thomas is a name that resounds and resonates with a lot of people. But what we are having now, what we have as High Life music now, does it resonate like when your era, when you used to do High Life, when you used to sing, when you used to perform out there? What we have now, can it stand the test of time?
Well, you know, we have generations, you know, and every generation has its, you know, movements and everything. I think now music is the way they are doing it is their generation, so they do it the way you know, how they feel about it. Like my time, you know, I did it in a way that we are still enjoying it, like you are saying. This is their time, and I think they are also feeling that they are doing their best that they can.
And this is where we end today's bulletin of Joy News today. Many thanks for joining us. My name is Daniel Daze. Do log on to myjoyonline.com for more news updates. Up next is the marketplace. See you tomorrow.